Hey Tiffany, good start here. Your images look really good and they're nice and colorful. I do want you to consider before we get too far into this is the angle of view, and I did mention this in the last week's feedback. If you have everything head on, you can see how flat they look. So I would suggest photographing these more from the side, and I'll show you. Where's that? Those images. And these are some of the what I showed last week, because you can see the different sides. See how much how much depth this has, and it really looks like a solid form that takes up space, and so it looks like it just has more depth. Same here. And then note the use of perspective. This part's smaller. I already went over all this. I don't know if you got to listen to it. I didn't really check yet. But again, here too, it's not that one point perspective that you look head on, because that looks it looks really flat. So using a little bit of angle, even that this is pretty a flat object, you can see the sides, and again see the smaller leg. Because when you have everything head on, it just looks flat. It doesn't look like it has any dimension. It just looks head on. And it's just a little bit more interesting when you add a couple sides. It's also listed in the suggestions as well that this is really kind of a way to make it more interesting. Let me see. Again, it looks solid. And here's another computer one. You can see the two sides, and then notice how this is smaller because it's using the tools of perspective. Let me see if I can find any other toy ones. Here's one. They could have done a drop shadow as well, but again, notice all the different images, and notice how they fit together, and how even though this is flat, you still see a little bit of a side to it. So before you get too heavily started, excuse me, I would highly suggest going back and photographing some of these from some other angles. Just because you're going to have a lot more successful, you're going to be able to do a lot more with the piece than having it just be head-on static looking. Anyway, it's just a suggestion, and it usually does really help the caricature if you show a couple sides. And I know that this has depth too. I know this has a nice side view. And then again, you'd have the smaller, because whenever you turn something on the side, the further away is always going to be smaller, right? And you can enhance that even a little bit more in Photoshop if you have a decent photo. But anyway, the photos look great. So you might want to make some revisions before you put it in the final Dropbox. It's it's your choice, but just overall, it's going to make a more successful, design. Okay.